War field stabilized. Want to turn up the heat? We gotta move.
What is up, everyone? It is June 20th, 2013. Welcome to State of the Game. My name is JP McDaniel, your host. Today on the show, we have iNcontroL, TotalBiscuit, and MrBitter. Jeff, you're back from DreamHack. How you been, man?
Good, thank you. I got in about 9 o'clock. No, 2 days ago. It's all a blur. And I think I'm starting to hit Grandmaster level travel because I'm not really jet lagged. I feel good.
Nice.
I actually got sick before I left, which is nice. I got that out of the way.
Now, is that better or worse? In your
Well, if it goes the way it did, it's better because on day one my voice was shit. But after a lot of medicating and stuff, it was fine for the important days. So that's good. If it would have been that my voice was shit for all 3 days, it'd be like the worst thing in the world. But I'm all right.
Cool. It's glad to once again have you back. I love these weeks when Inside the Game doesn't happen because that just means that you come on State of the Game, apparently.
Hey, I don't mind, man. It's great.
Yeah, I don't mind either. TB, what's new with you, man?
Nothing much. Pissing off the internet. You know how it is.
All right, let's move on.
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy.
It's like, you don't even have to ask that anymore, really. It's like, oh, who are you pissed off this week? What did you say?
Yeah.
I was watching one of your WTFs yesterday, TB, for Magica, and I went and bought it. So thanks for that.
For Magica? Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
pretty
a
old
while ago.
Yeah.
That's a good game, though. But
Wow.
play
Good
it
game to play
with
with
people.
friends.
TotalBiscuit, he's going through your old videos like.
Yeah, it's like you want to watch some of my World of Warcraft shit. I've got some
Well, you know,
great
this
I
is
heard
what-
about
this is
this,
how to
this
be-
expansion
what-
that's coming out for WoW. It should be great. It's the dragon or something.
This is what happens. I'll be on Team Liquid, and I always go to the sports and games thread because that's where, I don't know, I trust TL for everything that I do in my life.
Well, don't do
So-
that. But
That's
not
a
good.
rough way to live life.
So somebody had bumped
Like-
the Magica thread, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And so I typed in, what the fuck is this? And then, of course, comes up Total
Yeah.
Biscuits video.
Smart. See,
And then I
TB
bought it.
gets it.
Well, branding is what that is.
Oh, God. Ben, it's obviously been I
It's been
guess
a long
this
time. It's been like a week.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a busy week for you, though. It's been a busy month, I guess would be the better assessment, where I think a lot of this was going on even the last time you were on the show and you couldn't say a damn thing about it. No one really could.
Probably
So we'll
old
just...
guys in Ben's back room.
Yeah. We're actually a secret glance.
So
into
are
the
you saying, hold on, breaking
Maybe I
news.
should just like angle this so that we're not seeing anything too.
Wait. There's a girl. There's a girl.
Breaking
Girl on the
news,
stream.
Ben is one of those
God,
people, the NASL
hands.
sound guy.
That's true. It's true.
One of them has to be the NASL sound guy.
We're
Screenshot
gonna
it,
lip
guys.
read us so we can get some secret info from all of this.
It's actually the NASL CEO.
There you go.
Indeed. I've been in his truck. It is a good truck.
Yeah.
You just got fired, Ben. You're like, I'm on the fucking show right now. Fuck this. Oh God. So let's start with the news, of course. Of the what did Russell say?
We're trying to do work here. I don't know what Ben's doing.
Oh, okay. I always call you in the middle of the work week. That's for sure.
Ben, didn't you go in that room to avoid the people and then the entire
did.
office just came in?
Migrates to me. You turn a camera on in this building and everybody's got to show their fucking face.
There you go. That's the truth. Let's
Bunch
talk
of
about the
camera
news
whores.
of the week in the StarCraft 2 scene. That is, of course, WCS America switching hands from MLG to NASL. Ben, we'll just start with you and just talk about like how long this has been in the works. I mean, from my estimation and what I've kind of learned through back channels and whatnot is that this has happened pretty recently. It's not something that's been waiting to happen for a couple of months, right?
Yeah, it came about pretty abruptly. I guess. I mean, when I went to New York to cast the WCS North America Finals, I was like, well, I guess this will be my last StarCraft cast. And then when I got back,
Yeah.
it was like, hey, we're maybe going to be doing WCS Season 2. So just to give you an idea of the timetable, it happened fast. And now we're all scrambling, trying to figure out how the hell we're going to execute. But I'm sure it's going to be great, and we're
Sounds
definitely
like
excited.
you're working at WCS.
Yeah.
You've already got the hang of it. Congrats. That took you no time at all to learn the pace of WCS.
But Jeff,
Scrambling to figure out how to do
Blizzard
it.
throwing him a
Whoa!
bone. Blizzard
No,
throwing
no,
him a bone.
it's not like that. We've got a long time before we actually pick up the heavy lifting. The Blizzard team's
Yeah.
going to be carrying the most of season 2. So when I say scrambling, I mean looking critically at ourselves and saying what personnel we need to add,
Scrambling.
what changes might need to be made internally in order to facilitate a smooth transition from Blizzard to NASL.
Look at WCS this way. It left the hands of MLG and is now being taken by the remnants of IPL just before it hands it off to NASL.
It's like a flea flicker.
No,
Jeff.
hold on. Do you think David Ting?
It's like an STD.
You think David Ting, as this was all happening, was just like, ha ha ha, I win at last? Like,
He was playing the long game, man.
He was.
You would have
apparently.
never seen it coming.
Closet broadcast should be excellent.
Oh god, Ben, do you know any details about how that's all going to go on in San Francisco, or is that pretty much all up to them? I mean, you guys obviously don't have any say in that, right?
No, I actually know a lot of details. Is it public yet?
I know that they're doing the online portion, and you guys are doing the round of 16
but
and on. But
they're going to be running those broadcasts out of their Irvine campus, so we'll be able to send guys down there and take part.
oh, so they're
in
not
some-
doing those in San Fran. That's going to be
correct.
okay. Well, that's definitely new news. And so
Nice
you
job.
guys are going to be casting the entire thing then, basically, right? They'll just transplant you guys from the NASL studios to that studio?
Well, you will see some of the NASL guys taking part in some of those casts, but they also have a big, talented team of people that are going to be, again, doing the heavy lifting until we're able to take that handoff.
Understood.
So I would expect to see some cat's pajamas and some of those.
Are there going to be...
That would be, Ben, that would be Kevin Noke, please.
Kevin
That's
Noke.
highly insulting and unprofessional.
It's very true.
Forgive me, Kevin.
I thought it was Naki.
No, it
Yeah.
is. He said cat's
It
pajamas.
is. He said cat's pajamas.
Oh, shit.
Well, that's NASL's WCS run over. Thanks, Ben, for that.
Jeez.
Yep.
We'll be handing it off to
Man,
PCSL
change
for
the
season
Twitter
3.
page.
You know, and Kevin works at Blizzard now, so he might be able to
Yeah.
fuck these guys. Just like
You're gonna go home and be like, I'll just do some laddering to chill out. What's this? I've been banned. Got a message? It's Naki, bitch.
Oh, God.
Be nice.
I guess the last question I have for you, Ben, before we get TB and Jeff in here on this. With Southern California being kind of like a hotbed of North American casters for the most part, are we going to see a Day 9 or a Husky or any other North American casters jump in? Is that something you guys are kind of looking at?
Well, I certainly can't sit here and promise that you'll see Day 9 and Husky, but or any of the other guys that are around this area. But you know, you're mindful of it. You can bet that Blizzard's mindful of it too. I would definitely suspect that they'll be reaching out to those guys and trying to use them in some capacity.
Like you said,
Understood.
JP, they got to raise money, so they've got a couple of years, and then. I gotta say, you said that was the last question, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's start it up, Jeff. What is that?
Fucking WCS goes from MLG to NASL, and we're like, Ben, is that true? He's like, yeah, it is, and it's gonna be good. And that's it. That does it for the segment. We're good on this.
No. I'm saying like talk about the announcement, Jeff. I'm not saying.
I think it's crazy. I mean, it's good. It's really, really good. But Ben drops a bomb where he subtly says, I went to New York, and I think that could have been my last StarCraft 2 broadcast. Like, that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
That meant, to me, that solidifies what we were thinking, which is that NASL was perhaps moving on to World
Sure.
of Tanks. Certainly, they would be open to doing some broadcasts for StarCraft 2, but very much so the league was done.
I got to stop you, Jeff, and explain a little bit how my role has changed here at NASL. I was hired as a StarCraft caster, and when it was pretty clear that World of Tanks was going to become a focus in the building, you know, Russell had to like kind of reassess Ben. He had to reassess MrBitter and say, well, I obviously can't justify paying this guy to be a StarCraft caster if we're not doing StarCraft in the immediate future. How can I better use him? So my role in that capacity has been almost more administrative. I'm handling a lot of the close business talks between us and Wargaming. So when I say I went to New York thinking, well, this might be my last StarCraft cast, it wasn't because we weren't ever going to do StarCraft again. It was because my job had changed. What is this? What is this face?
He's like, whoa, Jeff, listen, I need to clarify. It's not that we weren't going to do StarCraft, it's just that they took the lead broadcaster and turned him into an administrative World of Tanks guy. But we were still going to do some StarCraft.
Dan and Greetorp and Roddy, guys that are married to StarCraft, that are always going to be doing StarCraft, that have been working on StarCraft things in the background that, you know.
Whoa, hang on, I just got a tweet. Seattle Seahawks are not going to play baseball, but, like, 2 of the guys are still going to, throw the football around. So don't worry, it's not that they're a baseball team. It's just that, the
underlying point here is that we never intended to never work on StarCraft. We've always said that we'll continue working on StarCraft in whatever capacity that we can. It's just that for me personally, my work is becoming a little less focal on commentary and more focal on other things.
Okay. Well, to be honest with you, remove what I said and replace it with exactly what you said. But my point is, that's a really big deal, and I know that basically in like the political geosphere of StarCraft 2, but really esports in the greater whole, we can't really candidly talk about all things that are moving around. Mm-hmm. But I guess this is that part of the show where either TotalBiscuit does it because he doesn't give a fuck, or Jeff suggests to everyone that we look a little bit closer at what's happening. And this is not like a conspiracy theory like boycott Blizzard. Quite the opposite. We care much about them that you need to keep a closer eye so that when things like this happen, where leagues are moving out of a space, or mostly moving out of a space, that we look at the actions that led to that and we were critical of the components that went into that so that we can be like preventative of that in the future. I've never felt more like, can you guys remember 2010 StarCraft 2? Like, from then to now, I've never felt more mortal about our game. Like, people have always asked, like, well, what if the game collapses? Like, what are you going to do for a job after that? And I was always like, StarCraft 2 is not going to go anywhere. And then in 1 year, IPL folds under. Again, not necessarily for related reasons. They did terrible business on their own end. But then NASL starts moving in a different direction. MLG shits the bed and can't really handle WCS. It's like a bucking bronco that they just could not tame.
Do you feel it to be that dire, Jeff?
I feel like it was getting to a position where it could snowball to be that dire. All I'm trying to say is we felt more mortal than I think we ever have in the past. For at least that was a realization.
Come on, Jeff. You and Marcus and Scoots and many smart people in 2010, 2011 said, hey guys, this is a bubble. It's going to pop. And then what we saw was a popping of the bubble. And then after a bubble pops, there's going to be a moment of instability. And then eventually it's going to flatline, and flatline's probably the wrong word, but it's going to once again stabilize at a level that was not as high as our highest peak. But,
sure.
But StarCraft's not going anywhere. We grew, and it was amazing, and I think esports on the whole has been elevated to a level we've never seen before. And StarCraft is not going to be larger than League of Legends or even Dota 2, but
or World of Tanks.
Maybe.
No, I'm serious. They got 42 million people subscribed to that shit that pay an average of 14 euros. You guys know those numbers?
Yeah. I know those numbers because I know what they do at an E3 or what their booth looks like.
I know
at
it's
E3.
just made up two numbers, 42 million and 14 euros.
Red Eye told me, and he works with the World of Tanks account, actually. He's responsible for knowing these numbers because he's in charge of that at the ESL studio.
I also talked to Wargaming, and those are not the accurate numbers. But they are very impressive.
But I didn't make those numbers up. Thanks, MrBitter.
Those are very impressive numbers, but that would be an amount of income that is just like unbelievable on any level.
I just fundamentally disagree.
That would make World of Tanks more played than
No,
League of
apparently
Legends,
not. Okay,
for instance.
fair enough.
Sorry, John. Go ahead.
John, please.
TB, let's bring you in here.
All right. I want to disagree with a couple of things. I mean, firstly, the notion of kind of feeling mortal and the bubble popping and so on and so forth. You can say, oh well, NASL was moving away. NASL didn't move away. NASL was shoved out.
Yeah, they got
There's
forced
no real
out.
question about that, unless Ben is gonna disagree with me.
I
Where
will.
was? Will you?
I will disagree with you.
Dare to
I was-
believe, John. Dare to believe.
Where was NASL's place when 16 plus hours a day of StarCraft was broadcast in a daily league format
Okay.
that
So-
basically overran absolutely everything?
Maybe muscled out is a term that I can live with, but no one ever said, "Look, you're not allowed to do something." Russ is giving me looks.
It's not even it's not a case of you not being allowed to do something. It's being completely impractical from a business standpoint to be able to do it because the space suddenly got extremely crowded as a result of Blizzard coming in saying these time spots, yeah, they belong to us now, and this is what we're going to do here, and these tournaments are going to cover almost the entire schedule. So where on earth is there space for NASL if that's the case? And honestly, IPL would have suffered exactly the same fate if they hadn't already gone under,
Right.
because if Davis, threw them the wolves. It's really as simple as that. Those collapses and those movements away, it was not because NASL was doing badly. It's not because the
Well,
bubble was popping.
Nobody told us we can't produce in this space, and Blizzard was very explicit about saying, "Hey guys, we want you to continue working in the space, and we'll promote you however we can." The point that you make is a really good one. When WCS is happening almost around the clock, do you really want to try and compete against it? And in that
You can't.
instance, the answer was no for us.
It's actually
and-
that you can't. That's the problem. It's not
Right.
that you. It's not a competition. It's that by the laws you cannot.
Well,
Not by the
that's-
laws, but
No,
Can't broadcast at the same time as WCS. A major
Oh.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I can really say that, but
we assemble the most nitpicky
It's-
people
it's
on the planet Earth. This conversation,
really.
Jeff, it's not
It's
about
like-
it being nitpicky. It's that
It's
Blizzard's
like the
rules
Reddit
are
hive
fluid.
mind has
Yeah.
decided that Blizzard has shat on people, and that's not the case. With these major organizers, the NASLs, the IPLs, the MLGs, Blizzard has gone out of their way to try and facilitate, but the fact remains that inside of that space, did we want to broadcast against WCS? It was our choice, not theirs, whether or not we were going to do that. And we chose to take a step back and try to find a better path for our business to succeed.
Let me,
Well, if you want to give me, if you want an absurd analogy, I'd say, Blizzard is the elephant in the room. It then jammed itself into a phone box and said to the rest of the guys, "Yeah, it's okay. You guys can fit in here too. Come on in." That's
Blizzard's the elephant in the studio apartment that's 500 square feet. Yes.
yeah, pretty much. It's like, yeah, you can room with Blizzard in that scenario, but would you want to? Is it practical to do it? No, it's not.
That's
And
just out the window,
it
at
doesn't
least.
matter if they say, "Oh, well, we're open to all these things." Like, no, you shut all the doors. You can't say that you're open to that because you caused that to happen.
Here, let me. You know those big boats in like Alaska that are supposed to break through the ice?
Icebreakers.
I'm gonna be the icebreaker of bullshit for 1 second. When Ben says, in my opinion, when he says they didn't tell us we couldn't do StarCraft 2, the byline there is what they did say is that you cannot compete with the EU or NA broadcast with your league. So if I'm NASL and I'm a daily content league that produces 5-6 hours a day, something like that, and I look at the time slots and I'm like, all right, well EU is what is it, like 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and
Yep.
NA is like 5 p.m. to 10. Where the fuck does the NASL go? Probably nowhere. So NASL would have to reinvent themselves. They could not be a daily league. They would instead have to be an MLG that hosts on weekends. And then that becomes I can't begin to profit like
Oh,
that
the
would be
problems
Ben.
with
You have to
that
guess. Yeah, I have
would
no
be
idea
massive.
how it works.
Well,
So
I
it's
mean,
not that they told you couldn't do StarCraft
Right,
2. It's just that
okay,
they were
well,
like,
yeah.
I don't know where you do it.
I'm not gonna contest that point, Jeff. You're pretty correct in your.
And the reason I
logic.
bring this up is not necessarily like I'm not trying to illuminate a truth that happened to NASL, but I think this is something that hopefully, and I know that a lot of the Blizzard guys listen to these shows. My problem that I would vocalize is that I don't know that you want to do that. Like I know that the overall great idea is that we don't want to be cannibalizing our premier content. So if WCS NA is running, they want as many eyes on that as possible because that should be our best foot forward. If WCS EU is broadcasting, again, same thing. But the problem I have is if a really good organization like an NASL, or let's say like an EG, and they want to put on their own league or their own tournament, if there's no space for them to do that, those resources, they go to World of Tanks, they go to Dota 2, they go elsewhere. And then if we have a bad WCS experience, nope, no mind blown there. It's actually happened almost every time. It's completely expected at this point. Then guess what? In my opinion, and again, TB was taking issue with the term mortal. Okay, but let's just say this: it's not moving forward so much as like at least treading water, but probably sinking, and that's a really bad place to be.
Yeah, it's not great. And the annoying thing is that as much as Blizzard has the best interests of the scene at heart, the implementation of it was not up to snuff. And you got to ask, well, why exactly does MLG not have WCS anymore? Why is that? Do you think that... I think that everyone in this room probably knows a decent amount. Maybe they have a piece of the map, and they can put it together. They can find the treasure, but I have to wonder how many people really think that Blizzard said to MLG, no, we don't want you doing that anymore. That clearly was not the case.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's thinking that
I'm
MLG...
hoping that no one thinks that. As much as I would like to believe that, but some people just love to shit on MLG at every chance they get. And it's like, MLG did a bad job, so they got it taken away. They were punished. It's like, no, that's actually not what happened at all.
Yeah, I will be the first, and I don't think I'm the first to say this, but
I will be the second to say this.
I look at WCS and look at what MLG did, and the fact that they don't have it anymore. I just think they didn't want it. I mean, it's
they didn't.
You can read the announcement that they said. They gave it 3 sentences, and then they immediately start promoting Anaheim. Like that, it just looks very clear cut to me. Like MLG did not want that anymore.
No, they didn't. And why would they? I looked at I actually got to have a look at some of the numbers, and everyone knows Twitch revenue is pretty bad.
Sure.
But even on the best deal, I looked at those numbers. I'm like, this is weird. Shoutcraft made more money than this, but we only had 7 shows. I mean, really? You seriously expect them to put an entire production team and spend an absurd amount of money? And I know how much money they spent. I can't, I was sworn to secrecy on that, but the amount would blow some minds, certainly outside of this chat, maybe not inside of it, but they spent a shit ton of money on that thing, didn't get a return, got shat on by everybody, and honestly, no, they didn't really do a particularly good production. Let's be completely frank about it. ESL did a better job. And of course, GSL did a better job.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it's not their specialty. And this daily content thing from inside the studio is not what MLG does best. It's what NASL does best. It's what Ben's guys do incredibly well. Back with NASL Season 4, I was saying, this is the best daily league we have ever seen outside of the GSL. The production is amazing. The actual supplementary content that's backing all of it up, which I think is the most vital thing about any of those daily leagues, is actually having that ancillary content that backs the games up. Yeah, it's not just, here's some games, guys. It's like, look at all this other stuff that supports that. Mm-hmm. Look at all these little pieces of content, and let's go to the side table and do this, and let's do the pulse, and let's have this and that and the other. That's the kind of thing that NASL's good at. And MLG, they don't focus on that. That's not their thing. It's not their gig. Why would they want this?
Yeah.
So let me say something a little bit in defense of the idea behind WCS as I understand it, in terms of working with our partners. Again, I had a good opportunity to talk to Red Eye about this, but I've spoken to several others as well, including a lot of the guys at MLG. And I think one of the ways that it's being handled, for better or worse, you can make your own opinion about that, is that the idea that was kind of propagated, and I don't necessarily think propagate is the right word. I think the idea was just like almost like assumed by the collective, was that Blizzard came in and was like, here's money, put on WCS. Here's money, put on WCS. And that wasn't actually what happened. What they ended up doing is they went to these different partners and said, we'll help supplement some of the cost, but what we're actually doing is asking you to invest in this league slash concept slash idea that moving forward will probably make us money and will probably be good. But it was not actually Blizzard, which was how I understood it, putting on a show through MLG, like helping to fill their pockets. So the way ESL took on that attitude was that they lost money, they spent money, but they're putting on a better show and they're strengthening their brand through the blessings or the partnership with Blizzard. And on the flip side, that's not really how MLG operates. Everything John said, I agree 100% with. NASL is your better partner for daily content. They have everything in place to be the best show for that possible. And I think we saw that with MLG. MLG is going to put on a banging weekend. They're going to host a fun little weekend event. But if you want the excitement and the glitz and glamour of a studio broadcast of premier StarCraft 2 content, MLG was probably never going to be your guys. So whenever I hear language of like they had a really tough time with the business side of things, I kind of understand it, but at the same time I'm like, I feel like with a slightly different attitude, those things are either understood or they go away, and there's not a whole lot of animosity there, because it's more like, because how do you get mad at something you invest in that's not like returning you money right now? That feels like you either didn't understand what you got into or you were duped, which you should still be mad at yourself for, because guess what? You were the one that got duped, in my opinion.
Right. Ben, do you want to respond to any of that?
There's some fun backroom conversations that I think maybe all of us have had at some points that are not quite able to be shared publicly. But someday one of us is going to write that behind-the-scenes esports book.
Someone's going to do it eventually, and we're all fucked.
It's gonna be a bestseller.
Let me tell you about this absolute twat that I know, and it'll be a wonderful chapter.
But I liked Jeff's point about somebody maybe getting duped.
Well, let's throw some other questions to you, Ben, because I mean, we're talking about how MLG didn't really have the best numbers. The WCS NA just didn't have good numbers overall. A lot of that could contribute to the when it was aired, the time zone. Are you at all worried about that, or is anyone worried about that at NASL? Is Chance worried about that?
Am I worried about what time we air the show?
Yeah, are you guys worrying about numbers and the fact,
No.
like, do you think that you are going to offer? Here, I'll actually throw this at you. Are you going to offer a better product than MLG did, so much so that the numbers will be equivalent to what Europe and Korea get, regardless of what time you're broadcasting?
So I'm not going to try to compare our broadcast to MLG's for starters, but I will say that the great thing about doing WCS versus doing NASL Season 5. NASL Season 5, we're producing a product and we're selling it to the viewer. And our goal is to build those numbers as much as we can, and that's how we're going to sustain ourselves. With WCS, we're producing a product for a client. We're producing a product for Blizzard. So yes, we want to build numbers. Yes, we want to put on the best show we possibly can. But at the end of the day, the people that we want to make happy in this production are Blizzard. So as long as Blizzard says you guys are doing a good job, we're going to continue doing more of that. But I don't know. That's kind of a fluffy answer, JP. But
That's a hard question. I have another one for you. Do you see, and this is your doing, because you said you got brought up to kind of answer these types of questions earlier in the show. Do you feel that WCS America is going to be a money maker for you guys? Is this something that you guys look at and you're like, yes, we're finally going to start like profiting once again from StarCraft 2?
how can I answer this question without getting myself fired?
It's a hard question.
Careful, Chance. Those are wires. All right, so
Can I answer for you, Ben?
yeah, I'll let
That
you
might
answer,
be
and then
better.
I'll give you my answer.
We at NASL are really excited about the potential future of WCS and what it could mean for everybody in the entire scene. For ourselves, it's nothing but a positive experience that we're really excited to embrace. Are we better than other people? No, not necessarily, but we're going to try our darndest to do the best we possibly can.
That's very
Pretty
cute.
good CEO answer right there, Joe.
The answer that I would give would be more along the lines of when it was first starting to be murmured that we might be working on World of Tanks. There were some, I read all the feedback out there, and some people were like, oh, NASL sells out to wargaming, things like that. I would rather take this question from the stance of We are very excited to work with people like Wargaming because it allows us to do other things that we're very passionate about. That's not to say that tanks isn't awesome. I love working on tanks. It's a very exciting project. But by having that relationship with Wargaming, it allows me to have the flexibility to reach out and do some other projects that might not be as profitable.
Right. So to answer your question about WCS JP, what he means to say is that World of Tanks is pretty okay, and it allows them to do WCS.
I don't know what more I can give you there. Well, let me look in my handout and see if there's a question in here that we're prepared to field.
Ben, all drinks on me, by the way, in
Why are
Anaheim.
you doing WCS so suddenly? We love StarCraft 2 and are happy for both the opportunity to get in and also Blizzard's help with the transition as we get ready. There you go.
Nice.
And I didn't even have the fucking handout.
There you go.
Oh,
You know.
God.
I don't think that we're going to be taking it to the bank with WCS JP, but at least by working with Blizzard, we're able to do it without taking a bath. How's that?
And I gotta assume that everyone, I mean, let's be honest, all of your casters were pretty much brought on for StarCraft 2. So I gotta imagine that those guys are excited to actually be able to do their job right now. Correct?
Absolutely. Everybody is incredibly excited to be able to continue to work in StarCraft 2. Nobody's more excited than Roddy, who's tap danced all the way to Germany to work on Home Story Cup and is going to moonwalk back. But everybody's stoked.
Did you guys ease the news lightly to Clutch that it wasn't just going to be World of Tanks, or did you give it to him straight up?
I think Clutch is going to focus more on tanks than on StarCraft, though we will still see him in his hosting roles.
Will we see Greetorp bounce back and forth between the two titles?
Absolutely. You'll see Andre bounce back and forth between the two, and probably more so on StarCraft than on tanks.
I know Russell was asking this, or was asked this last night on Live on 3.
Clutch, I'm just teasing you, boob. He's in the chat. What the fucking control?
So fucking
Come
BM.
on.
Oh, God. Is the Pulse coming back, Ben? Will we see the return of shows outside of the WCS?
You know,
How do you bring the Pulse back?
working on the Pulse
do
is
you-
awesome, but that's a fucking
When
full-time
you name a
production.
show the Pulse and it dies, what do you call it? What does it come back to? Like,
The
hey
resuscitation.
guys, welcome to the resuscitation. Yeah.
It's the pig heart.
There you go.
No, man, it's a full-time production, and it has a budget separate from any of this other stuff. So if we were going to bring the Pulse back, we would have to bring in more money to bring the Pulse back. Actually, I have a more PR answer to that question.
Sure.
Go for it.
Sure, let's hear that one as well.
This should be good. Does it have the word synergy in it?
Oh, God.
We are considering bringing the Pulse back. Right now, our StarCraft 2 team is focused on ramping up for WCS, though.
Those are pretty similar. I mean, kind of, not really.
Yeah.
Look, Ben, if you get fired, we'll talk to Russell. We'll just get you hired back. It's okay.
We're considering bringing the Pulse back, but right now we're not.
I mean, the truth there is that it just requires too much manpower. So we don't have the
Hey,
ability right now.
what about the woman power that Lauren brought to the show? Let's try to be a little bit more inclusive, okay?
Maybe we will have Lauren just come in and just host the Pulse by herself.
I think that would be I think you'd get the numbers.
She could do her Cloud Kingdom dance, and it would probably get more numbers.
Perfect.
No, it'd get the numbers. I think you'd still be happy with that.
It would
You
get at
just
least
like
8.
24/7 stream in the background. She's just doing the pulse. The new theme of the show is like, as long as she has a pulse, the show will go. Up to a machine.
Well, I mean, she's a pretty enough girl. She might not need one
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
if you're into that kind of thing.
We're going down a wrong road here, gentlemen. TB, you obviously made a huge post on Reddit about this. I mean, just
Yep.
overall, is there anything that you want to say about it, or any topics that you want to discuss in particular?
Well, and it's so strange to actually see NASL being given the round of 16. I understand it's most like Ben. I've got to ask you: are you getting round of 16 only because of time constraints that you guys didn't think you were up to doing the round of 32, or is there a different reason behind that?
Just making sure I don't have a PR answer for you.
Oh my God! Love of God!
No, it's
is that your decision or Blizzard's? I guess
it would-
to ask
it-
another
it would-
question on that.
Yeah, you know, honestly, I don't know what the conversation was like with Russ and Blizzard at that point. I would imagine that they discussed us picking it up right out of the gate. But if this is just a case of I don't have the answer. I don't actually know. I would guess that it was a time issue that you speculate, John, because it is a very quick transition. And for us to immediately just change right into StarCraft, I mean, right now my set is all branded World of Tanks, so I need some time to get everything ready.
Yeah. It makes sense, but it's also so strange to see the ex-IPL guys doing it. They're definitely capable of it, but with you guys kind of being there as the North American regular daily league, the kind of guys that are used to that you're very much doing that online content, where your regular leagues were guys playing online, you would cast it live, but they wouldn't be in the studio. And then you're given the round of 16, which is actually this kind of weird combo where it's not a full-on live event, but it's an LCS style of we've got the guys here, and we've got them playing, and they're in a booth.
I think you guys will be pretty excited with what we roll out with the round of 16.
Really?
It's not all finalized, but it's a cool concept that we have that I think is going to be real fun.
Will there be a live audience?
Hopefully we can talk about it in 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks is when we're going to make a final decision.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's good that it's getting away from MLG. Like, it seems to be a win-win for pretty much everybody. I don't think anyone, including MLG, actually wanted to keep doing that. They were obviously focused on other things. They wanted to deal with their live events. And the fact of the matter is that the situation they're in with MLG Anaheim, with the reduced prize pool, with everything being announced very, very late, was as a direct result of WCS.
I have a PR answer.
Oh, excellent.
You asked me why the Blizzard guys
Wait,
are
can you just,
doing it first.
when you say I have a PR answer, can't you just
Say I have an
not
answer.
speak afterwards? Or?
Oh god.
I just think these answers are really funny. And
You're supposed to at least not pretend.
I'm probably going to get yelled at for making jabs at them. We
it's
love
okay,
StarCraft 2 and are happy for both the opportunity to get involved and also for Blizzard's help with the transition as we get ready.
I wonder, does that trick anyone? Does anyone read that and go, oh. Okay.
By the way,
Clutch.
Clutch confirms a live audience in the chat, and then follows it up with a joke. So I don't know if he got yelled at immediately after that, or he was just joking the entire time.
Then, quick fuck Slasher moment here. Did you guys get contacted by Slasher to do it?
I will confirm that we were contacted by Slasher and on more than one occasion blatantly lied to him. So.
Oh, you do that too? It's really fun, isn't it?
Yeah, because I feel like
it almost hurts my feelings because Slasher never tries to contact me, and it's just, I don't know if he thinks that I just won't tell him anything or if he just doesn't like me. But it hurts a little bit because
Slasher, what are you doing?
he always asks other people for things and never me.
oh, it's not that bad. He just he only contacts me to get interviews with people I know or to ask me for details. So it's like
That's cool.
you don't have
Most
to worry.
of the times when StarCraft fans talk to me, it's just to ask for Kevin's autograph. So
Really? Yeah, because I guess what I was getting at, it's unfortunate because I think one of the interesting stories for me is I think this is really good news for NASL, and I'm really excited about the future. I think this is right in their sweet spot. I think they can really give a good show. The kind of nice thing about having picked up this gig from MLG is that you don't have to improve too terribly much to look really good in comparison to what MLG produced. So I know that's like really mean, but I think what we're all agreeing with is that this was not what MLG was built to do. So tip of the hat to them for trying, but unfortunately this is not what WCS should be, and this is not what we should expect. So I hope, and this is the segue that I'm looking for, I hope that the follow-up story from MLG is that they are really excited to get back to doing what they do kick ass at, and what did put them at as the #1 kind of weekend tournament league in North America and perhaps outside of Korea. I think DreamHack gives them a run, but they're just an amazing show. Because right now, like all the language surrounding Anaheim, I can just tell you behind the scenes, and really not even that behind the scenes. MLG has vocalized they had a tough time with this. Mm-hmm. Anaheim is a scale back. It's a smaller prize pool. It's a different format that is very much so impromptu. There are less commentators. It's not their actual feel. So I feel like that's a result of the dust that was kicked up by WCS. I'm hoping when this settles.
For a fact it is.
Yeah, well, I get that, but what I'm saying is I hope that post Anaheim, the resurgence from MLG that they put out there is, yo, we're back. We got the biggest dicks. You guys ready for this next MLG event where we're gonna fucking rock the house? And we have this other non-WCS content that's perhaps tier 1 or tier 2, whatever, to attach it to that. But the big good news is that MLG is back, and they're vital, and they're doing what they do best. And if we have MLG doing that, and we have NASL doing that WCS stuff, then I actually can't imagine a better North American scene than ever before. I think that's the best. But the reason I say that is we haven't heard anything from LG just yet. It was almost like eulogy. They're Anaheim.
That's kind of scary, right? Like,
yeah.
What if Anaheim is the last StarCraft 2 event for MLG this year? Like, we haven't heard otherwise.
Well, I don't think that's going to be the case. But there's no question that Anaheim was way scaled back compared to what it usually is. Anaheim's
the biggest event of the year.
Yeah,
MLG,
I mean, since they stopped doing the finals of Providence, Anaheim has been the biggest. It's an extremely large hall. Last time they had 2 StarCraft stages, red and blue, next to each other. I know for a fact that's not going to be the case this time around. And they had a huge number of casters available, and they had an exceptional player pool. Now, this time around, they have smaller prize pool, they have less casters, they have one stream, they're using community casters, which is totally fine, and they've got this open bracket format, which is basically 120-man double a limb.
Right.
And I know for a fact that decision was made extremely close to them announcing it. I know for a fact they were trying to fiddle with formats and think about what to do very close to them actually just flat out announcing, yeah, we're going to do this. And I have no doubt it'll still be a really good show because it always is. Even the lesser events are still really good. MLG live crowds are fantastic. MLG games are generally fantastic. They usually have extremely good finals. And they have Kesper players and a good mix of North American talent with the Koreans that come over. And you have those open bracket stories that we just didn't have. Apparently my mic's too loud. All right.
No, not you. Sorry, I meant Ben.
Oh, okay.
I meant Ben.
Is it me?
Ben? All right.
Yeah. I didn't preface whose mic. Sorry
Yeah, and it's
about
like,
that.
your mic's too loud. I was like, who, JP? Who? Come on.
Is that better?
Sure, yeah. Sorry, let's DP finish his thoughts.
Sorry, John. I'm just shitting all over everything.
Yeah. NASL
sound
coming
guy.
in and stealing
Fucking
everything.
NASL sound guys.
We have a hard time getting audio levels right, man.
Apparently so.
It's been an ongoing issue.
Yeah, don't worry. It's you and DreamHack in that boat. You'll have plenty company. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that it's a smaller event than what it was supposed to be. It'll probably still be really, really good, I've got to imagine. The fact that it's actually got a really old school player list is quite exciting to me because you will get those interesting breakout performances. And I'm sorry, but when was the last time we looked at a playlist like, oh, there's Noonie here and QXC and iNcontroL and all of these American players are here. This is what we remember from 2010. That was what happened there. Fucking Select's there, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It couldn't really be any more old school. You know, the only way they could have made it more old school is to bring Jinro back. That it's just, it looks like a really fun player list, and it should be a fun, probably more laid-back tournament than what we would expect for an LG.
I agree with everything you say. I think it's extreme to say, like, to throw out, because I don't think MLG is going to lose StarCraft. That would be a really sad day. I'm just saying it's not publicized what, because I'm going to be honest with you, the reason we haven't heard is because they probably don't know yet and they're working on it.
Sure.
But if I'm MLG and I'm in that office and I'm like, all right, guys, we got to announce that we lost WCS, I would like to pair that announcement with, we're also super excited to announce that we're going to kick some serious ass at Orlando coming up in.
And maybe they'll do that at the end of this weekend.
Maybe they will.
Next weekend.
It's not outside the reach, but that's why
Sonny
I said fuck
has
Slasher.
been very much teasing a Vegas-based event and something else as well.
Yeah, he was on Twitter last night. I guess I better go read the tweet word for word. Continue on, John. I don't want to say something.
I mean, there's also it sounds like there's the possibility of Columbus as well. He was teasing a word that could very well be Ohio, but we'll see. I mean,
guys,
it seems like MLG is trying to get back as much as they can to what they were doing previously. The question is, I suppose, do they have the means to do that now? I hope so.
The actual tweet was, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it might happen. O-H- in tweet. So he's doing what Sundance does best.
Here's an
MLG
idea
is
of
gonna be just
how much
fine.
he teases, though. even Slasher won't report his tweets as like as an idea of what could be true. Like when Slasher knows that's bullshit. All right. Anyways,
But Slasher reporting the news in that case, Jeff, would just be a retweet.
yeah, that's true.
That's true. That's a good point. Ben,
I want to see the numbers on it. I really do. I want to know how many people will actually watch this event. Will we get a decent crowd? And more to the point, will the streaming numbers be up there? Because Dallas streaming numbers crushed. Really, really good.
yeah, they were actually really good across the board. That's true.
I doubt we'll see as large, honestly. It doesn't seem like we will, but...
I think that a friend was looking to purchase tickets to go the other day, and you cannot buy a spectator pass online from MLG. I don't think
I'm
that's
sure it's
ever
sold out.
happened before.
unless... You could this morning when I tweeted about it. I don't know if you still can.
Because I checked like a couple days ago, and unless I was looking at the wrong thing, which I thought my friend was looking at the wrong thing when they told me they couldn't buy a pass, it was like, surely you can buy a pass online, but maybe they opened some more up. I don't know. But that's kind of insane if they sell out of spectator passes at an event. I don't think that's been done before. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's kind of what's sad about this happening around this time is Anaheim is their flagship event for the last few years. It's been
It was, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been massive, absolutely massive.
Anaheim last year was incredible.
It was. That was the Kespa event, wasn't it? The first time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That was
I
a huge
remember
event.
that.
Yeah.
That was insane.
I think Letta did a backflip or some shit.
Ben, your webcam is not coming on. I don't know if you could try to restart it in Skype
yeah,
or whatnot.
sure.
But one of the tweets I actually got regarding NASL is someone was wondering how they can support the NASL moving forward. Are you still going to have a subscription on your channel that'll unlock 1080p,
actually-
or what is the game plan with that?
Is my camera working now?
Yep, you're on.
So you
Yep.
can see me grabbing my PR papers. For anybody that might have bought an NASL Season 5 subscription, refunds will be automatically submitted this week. Please email purchase support@twitch.tv and support@nasl.tv if you have any questions. Of course, if you still want to support us or StarCraft 2 Esports on Twitch, there will always be ways to subscribe soon. So, there you go.
Will you have free VODs?
Of course. Absolutely, 100%. WCS VODs are all free.
Is it going to be 1080p or 720p?
It will be true 1080p, unlike all these other...
Have you ever seen their 1080p?
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty good 1080p.
We have the best 1080p in the business. I can say that as a matter of fact, because...
You have the best
everybody
internet line in the business. Is what you're
everybody
actually
else takes 720 and stretches it, so
Right.
you will have very high-quality VODs from us.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Okay.
Will you have wonderful best of one round of 32? Because I know that's a great format, right?
We're not running the round of 32, so I can't
I know.
speak to Season 2. When Season 3 comes around, I will make every effort to ensure that it's as good of an experience for the players as is possible.
Since we're just asking all the questions, are you going to have matching suits and ties, Ben?
Yes, we will have matching suits and ties.
Okay.
It's very important.
Yeah, it is very important. And
I do want to say, just right before I cut out, Jeff was talking about how he thinks this is a great thing for NASL and how it's in our wheelhouse and all that. I just want to move forward with caution because for a few months now, everybody has been like, oh, NASL's production is so great. We need NASL production, la 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 la. So now there's this mountain of hype that we have to live up to. So
it's true.
We're gonna make our best effort. But I'm a little nervous, man, because if our first content pieces roll out and people thinks they're lame, I'll be sad. So
When can we expect the content pieces to come out or the first broadcast to come on, Ben?
well,
that in the PR sheet?
I want to say it won't be until the WCS round of 16 for season 2 that we're actually driving the ship. So up until then, it's all going to be Blizzard production.
Okay.
That's the unofficial answer from Ben.
Sure. Yeah, the website said July or something like that is when we'll actually start to see content. So, well, let's talk about all the other WCS going on before we take a break, and then we'll jump to DreamHack. But WCS Korea, I know, Jeff, you've been watching it. This is the season 2, where OGN is now taking over the reins of WCS Korea, and GOM is kind of the one getting the restream, so to speak.
That's why they were...
That's why they were kind of fucking weird, right?
Last night I was wondering why Nick and Dan were in weird T-shirts and there didn't seem to be anybody else in the studio. Which made sense to me because I was on a weird, jet-lagged brain fried thing, and I was like, slow
So
day
how
at the
many
office
viewers
for
did
the
they
guy.
have?
Casual Friday.
How many viewers did they have, Jeff?
I
You
don't.
know?
I didn't check with GOM. I don't. I always just assume it's awesome.
Are they doing it at different hours?
No, as far as I know, it's
the same hour?
They did
I
two
don't know.
groups yesterday, which went longer. Is what happened. So I mean, they were up
Oh.
until like 5 or 6 a.m. for me.
Huh.
Views haven't been that strong for what I've seen.
I
But at
know
the
that
end of the day,
OGN
it's a-
started off with 3K the first night.
That's
Didn't
not good.
OGN actually lose out to GSL's numbers on that one? If I recall correctly, the
I'm
GSL
not sure on that one.
companion stream, whatever you call it, actually did have more, which is weird
From
because the
the
finals it was
final?
the other way around.
No, the
no,
OGs?
no.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I'm talking
For
about
day one
season
of
2.
round of 32.
Yeah, in the other one, it was a case of OGN had about twice as many viewers, which was interesting because the narrative around the time is, everyone's going to go watch Tasteosters. Nobody wants to watch these lolcasters. And then actually everyone went and watched these lolcasters because, Doa's awesome. But one way or the other, GOM, I heard on what I saw as well, that GOM's numbers were significantly higher,
Yeah.
even though they weren't doing the actual in-studio stuff.
People are saying GOM had about 15 to 20K. OGN
15,
was about
20K
3 to
versus
5K.
5, yeah.
That's
Man,
pretty
if I were
crazy.
OGN at this point, I would be fucking pissed. Like,
Yeah.
you put out all
Right.
that outlay, and then, yeah, Jesus.
When I watch Korean StarCraft these days, I find that more often than not, it's the Pro League. And I think it's really just because they run at such better hours. I can go home after a day
Yeah,
at the
they
office
do sometimes, yeah.
and like play some games, and on the second screen
Yeah.
I'll have Pro League going.
They'll start right at like 10 or midnight for us. I assume it's even earlier for you, Ben being West Coast. But
Yeah, like I don't know. It's different every damn day. Like I
Yeah.
swear I don't know what the schedule is, but
yeah.
it feels like Pro League is the Korean StarCraft that I watch when I'm watching Korean StarCraft.
It's just
more often than not.
I feel like that the whole WCS Korea situation is just like it's shitty for everyone else trying to watch
I can
it.
tell you, I
trying
just
to
spent the
enjoy
weekend
it.
with a few Blizzard people that they would agree with you.
It's just
very
like-
political.
God, I fucking hate GOM and OGN for their little weird fight
Well,
that's going
yeah,
on over there.
it's
All
like-
the politics. Just like, God damn it, we just
Hey,
want to
let's
watch
completely
good
change the
games.
format because we're OGN and apparently we can do that. Let's not do this because apparently GOM does this and
Yeah.
we've got our knickers in a twist over it. It's bloody stupid.
Well, it does go both ways, but I would also remind you
Yes.
too
Yeah.
that like the unfortunate part is what they do change sucks, but then what they don't change sucks, which is a big problem with me. Like, I don't like that WCS rolled around and literally they might have put duct tape over the thing that said GSL or SPL and instead changed to like WCS, and that was their
Yeah.
production shift.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
put some effort into it.
It's
for
funny
God's
because
sakes.
it's almost like we're going back to the days of MLG, not referencing other tournaments. Because last night in the broadcast, like Dan and Nick referred to it as the other broadcast, not OGN,
Yeah.
and they'll do
Energy
like the
drink
post game.
tournament.
which only makes you look bad. Like,
Yeah, and
'cause it
they'll do
doesn't
like
hurt
the
anyone.
post game interviews, right? And they'll cut to the OGN interview, and then as he's about to like send off, he's like, "And now let's go back to Doha and Monte Cristo," and it's like, "And here's Nick and Dan." So it just seems like it's just so bad across the board that that's happening over there, and we're just stuck with it for a season, right? Until it
Well,
goes back over to GOM.
Pretty much. It's because that is the hacked out agreement that they were able to do. I mean, GOM, for what I heard, GOM wanted to be on TV. The only way they were going to be able to do that is with cooperation from OGN. OGN wants certain things, GOM wants certain things. They're both at loggerheads over it, and then you end up in the situation where there's this weird dual cast going on, and there's one stream that has more popular casters and yet can't leverage its production because it's taking a feed from somewhere else. And even with the OGN Grand Finals, you had that with the English stream, whereby you had an entire separate stream that had the ancillary content on it, but you didn't include that content in the main stream. Like, that's not production. The whole point is you're supposed to put on a show. And they weren't doing that. They just had this massive stock of downtime. Sometimes they play terrible music. Sometimes they just have a splash screen up for like an hour. It's like, all right, better tune into the other stream to do that then. What? No. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be one show with all of these elements put together into a format that actually makes sense. And it's like, that seems like that's what WCS is in Korea, but it wasn't such a big problem when GOM actually just had it, because like, hey, it's just the GSL again, we're just watching that. Now it's not. It's this weird OSL with this best of one rule, and I know OGN's been sticking with this best of one rule for ages, but I don't think it's any good. I don't know of anyone that really does think it's any good aside from Brood War loyalists. Yeah, it might have been acceptable in Brood War. I don't think it is now. And then you've got this weird production nonsense going on. It's just a mess. It really is.
The scene, the global scene, is like Korea set the standard for so long, and I think we're finally starting to reach a point where some of the Western broadcasts are competitive on a production level, maybe not necessarily better, but comparable.
You can say it. Huh. I'm kind of tired of people, like, the assumption, too, is just that Korea is better at everything. I'm going to be honest with you. Some of these shows being put on by these Western tournaments is a more engaging and fun show than what I watch at the GSL. Like Nick and Dan, best commentators. Great studio, live audience, that's fine. They have players and boosts. Those are important things. But I watch GSL. You know what? Every night that happens, I watch GSL. Anna asks me. She says, "Can we watch it on the couch so that she can be included?" And I say, "Actually, if I watch it on the couch, I will pass the fuck out. I will fall asleep." And it's not because I don't love StarCraft. It's because in between every goddamn game, nothing is going on except for repetitive music or terrible one video, or what's worse, like Twitch commercials. If you don't subscribe or something like that, just the same over and over again. So I literally have to tell her no because I need to sit at the computer and play games in between, or do other things, or watch other streams, which is fine. It's a fun experience for me. But what I'm trying to say is I don't like this idea that everyone always with production is always like, well, Korea's the best. No, they're not untouchable. It's not that great, to be honest with you. And I wish I was wrong. I wish they would come out and have Wolf and Caldor doing something in between. I don't want to throw ideas out there because they'll shoot it down.
I would like to see a landscape where somebody distinguishes themselves as such a powerful producer of content that we don't necessarily have to have regional partners. Why can't there be one organization that produces everything? Like, is that so far-fetched? Is that not easier for storylines? Is that not better?
With Korea involved, yup. I mean, there's no way they'd let it. It's as simple as that. The situation is that complicated.
How? Korea can't say no. You're not allowed to broadcast Korean matches. They can't. It's not.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they actually can.
OGN is TV. So basically, the short story.
So don't broadcast Korea. Broadcast on Twitch.
They already do.
But then it's
But if
we're not. I don't base my production around a Korean audience. I don't think I really have one.
I feel like I'm about to explain the mafia to like a guy who grew up on a farm in Oregon or something like that. Like in Korea,
I get it.
They don't. There's
I know all about
back.
Kespa. I understand that. But what I'm saying is we're not broadcasting to a Korean audience. We're broadcasting to a Western audience. So why can't we have...
You don't get the Korean players without those organizations is the thing. Yeah. They'll actually hold the players out of this shit.
Yeah, they're completely unionized in that respect. Kespa and ESF exist, and they have a ridiculous amount of clout. And they will leverage that. They really will, and they have.
They have.
A lot of people don't know about how many times they've done it.
Now
JP
I'll
could
put
tell me
together a tournament where I don't have those guys, and I'll actually pay some non-Koreans, and I'll be fine with that.
Okay, I did that. It was called Shoutcraft. It didn't. I mean, it did all right, but really, I mean, it's not what Blizzard wants, though. And Blizzard is the one kind of running the ship in this respect. They have to kowtow to the Koreans. They've been trying to convince them for years. I mean, hell, they made an entire game that didn't have a LAN client just so they could have some more fucking control over the Koreans that they couldn't rein in. And even then, they've still had to cater to them.
My only point is I think the broadcast of the global story would be a lot more fluid if there was some consolidation.
I agree.
And I guess there's no real room for debate there. And I think there's room for that conversation to happen in the future, and I would like to see it.
I think they're trying to walk the best middle ground they possibly can with WCS to try and create that continuation. And I think between the Western partners like your ESLs, like your MLG/NESLs, and now with their like sub-partners, the guys that are running Tier 1, Tier 2 tournaments, I think that's all open and everyone's fine with that. Like they'll pass it along between each other. But in Korea, it's not like Kespa doesn't like the rest of the world or GOM doesn't like the rest of the world. It's that Kespa and GOM are literally like rival gods in a land, and they hate each other. And Kespa was the dominant god that put down GOM, and then when StarCraft 2 came around, Gom finally rose up, and then when Kespa moved over, Gom started shitting themselves because they're like, oh no, they're coming back. And now they're both huddled in their corners, worried about what the other one can do to them. It's actually, like, that's dramatic, but it's actually kind of close to being like that, almost exactly.
Wow.
The worst part about it all is we've been talking about WCS Korea for 20 minutes now, and we haven't once mentioned a single player. Like, that's probably the
This is a big deal.
State
You don't
of the
talk
game,
about the players in
not
the
state
leagues
of the
collapse.
player, JP.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to. I'm saying that's a shitty situation, is what I'm trying to say.
You know when it's going to become the most true, okay?
I have to actually look up who's alive in WCS Korea, which is shameful, by the
Yeah,
way.
I'll
But-
link it to you. Don't worry about it.
Kespa's going to announce that GSP is going to come over to commentate their league.
George
And then
St.
him and
Pierre.
George
Caldor,
St. Pierre.
him and Caldor will actually do battle as the champions behind the two leagues. Which will end with a headbutt that'll like shatter both their heads and they'll like claw towards each other and then thumb each other's eyeballs out. It's gonna be amazing.
I was wondering where the hell you were going with that, but you made it work. Good job.
You're such a simpleton, JP. You think they brought Caldor over just to commentate?
I know.
They brought
was
him
I
over
fucking
to
thinking?
defend Korea against the GSP invasion.
What was I fucking thinking? Well, Jeff, you watched last night, so you watched Group C and D. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
I mean, any big matches there? I see that SOS got eliminated in Group C with Sue and Maru moving on.
The the WCS Grand Slams finalist doesn't even make it past the round of what is this 32, I guess,
32.
going into 60.
Are we at the point now that there are no ESF players competing? I see Lucira.
There's
No,
a few. Keep in
Maru
mind,
got
life
through.
is-
Symbol got through.
Remember life, man.
Yeah.
Wait, Symbol's ESF?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Fart Noise
Just a
got
bit.
through.
They joined
Bebong
ASF.
or whatever.
Did you say fart noise?
That's what his name stands for in Korean or whatever.
Oh, boom boom.
So I just call him Fart Noise.
How
Boom
did I not
boom.
know this? It's my
Boom
new
Boom
favorite.
is Fart Noise, yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Trap making it through is the first Protoss, which is nice, and also sad at the same time because unfortunately he's one of those Protoss that advances, but everyone already knows he's gonna die, and they're like, oh, all right. That's
You got
Oh,
a
apparently
couple
those are
Protoss
different
from making
players.
that
My
up.
bad. My bad. Fucking maybe that's just the short fart noise. I don't know.
As far as the games I watched, Maru played really well. It was fun to watch. His last
Yeah,
game against
good.
SOS on Whirlwind, I think it was a good one. Mostly because SOS took a mortal blow early on, and everyone started turning off the stream because they thought he was dead. And then he fought on for like 20 more minutes. It was a great match. It was disappointing to see effort do poorly, especially since he's kind of a ZVZ specialist. Like he's playing those matchups really well, but last night he kind of pooped the bed. And again, to
surprised.
John's point, best of one, like you have a bad night could mean 2 games. Like, oh,
Yeah.
that's really rough.
Oh, wait. This is best of one.
Yeah.
What the
This is what I'm saying, Ben. It's ridiculous. The OSL format apparently now applies to WCS. Yeah, Effort must be pretty pissed. He lost 2 maps and now he's in freaking Challenger.
I was like, how
That's
the hell
great.
did Effort lose to these guys? And now it makes sense.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
those aren't
that's
the
the ones.
round scores. That's the map score next
Yeah.
to their name. That's scary as shit.
It's totally reasonable, right?
Yeah, it's not too
All right.
surprising to see Group A and Group B, the people getting through Flash and Soul Key.
So we could literally see just like anybody just
yeah.
like just roll the dice.
Wow, Group E's pretty great. That's actually a pretty fun group to watch.
So,
Ooh,
so how many
yeah.
how many 9 pools and 10 pools are we going to see in Group F?
What is with? I'm so tired of
Doesn't
seeing
matter,
groups
Roro's
with 3
winning it
Zergs
anyway.
and 1 of something else. It's like such a common trend now in almost all the tournaments out there, especially GSL.
Well, that's because there's a shitload of Zergs in it.
Yeah.
Eventually that will stop happening. I mean,
Hopefully, but then you've also
but
got
at the end
Group
of the day,
G with 3
WCS
Protoss.
inherited all of its rankings and all of its players from Wings of Liberty. So eventually you're going to have to kick out some of these.
Got to
but
flush out
not-
the Zergs.
Yeah, needs to be got rid of. Like, Broodlord and Festa doesn't work anymore.
So yeah, Group E looks really fun with King Ho, Jongbi, Life, Fantasy. Group G's
Yep.
got 3 Protoss on it. Jesus. Parting, Yonghwa, Squirtle, and Supernova. Isn't Supernova's TVP really strong as well?
It's not too shabby.
He's just scary. Like,
Okay.
he's not necessarily like a TVP juggernaut. It's just
Supernova
that he
has
could-
been around since fucking GOM season 1, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
He's rock solid.
So yeah, those.
And I've never been impressed with his play,
Nice.
but I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
Live Fantasy might be an interesting game just because fantasy's fantasy, but
I think Life wins that.
Life wins that.
Then again, it's best of one. Who the fuck knows?
That's true. Jeff, were you seeing a lot of cheesy play last night when you were watching it, or was it pretty standard across the board?
I want to say surprisingly standard, but it's hard for me to assess all the games as one. There's different ways to take best of one. You're either going to fall on like the super safe side because you only have one game to give, or you're going to put balls to the wall. So I think you saw a healthy mix of both.
Well, as we move on to WCS EU, those groups actually got released. They're going to be starting on the 25th, so middle of next week. Pretty, I mean, the groups are about what you would expect. I don't see any group that looks quite crazy. Do you guys have the link to it, or do I send it to you?
I don't have a link.
Let's
Yeah,
send it
you
to
can easily find it on Wikipedia.
Hold on, TB. You forgot that it's actually Jeff. I have to send it to
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
No
Thank you,
problem.
JP.
No problem. Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad.
Looking at these groups,
You on
Korean-
Merlo in Group H.
Yep.
more Korean flags than I thought I would see.
Yeah, there's what, six Koreans competing this time around? Yeah. No, 7 Koreans, actually. I keep forgetting Dukdyok.
All right. So
should
who
do
wants to
that.
bet that Elfie makes it out of Group A?
Yeah, totally.
Would you bet
Tough
money?
one.
He's got
Would
2
you bet-
Terrans in there.
I'll
Yeah.
put money on Elfie.
Of course,
I'll
you
take,
bet money.
I'll take the bet against it. 1-to-1 odds. How much you want to put down?
Name your price.
$50.
Okay. Done.
Nice.
All right, there's a bet.
We have 4 days to think of our wager.
Oh god.
None of these groups. I mean, kind of cool storylines. That this is what I think WCS's strength is like we've all followed TLO through his tournaments, and we've seen
Yeah.
the rise and fall, and we're waiting for that big breakout performance from him. His
He can
group
totally
is
get
kinda,
out of that group.
MMA's in monster mode lately, though. He's been tearing
Yep.
some skulls, and Mana, of course, is a champion on his own right, and Tails
How
is tough.
about Dario just playing so well right now?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I want him to win something.
Really awesome. I've become a fanboy of Bunny. I really, really like his play style. I like that he's just the product of like working hard and proving that you can be a Terran and B a no-name that rises to succession through success and not by cussing out people on stream or something like that, which is like 2 very rare things to happen in Europe.
Group
so
G is
very
actually
excited
pretty
about that.
interesting. 4GG, Grubby, Bunny, and Vortex. That's a.
Yeah,
I'd actually say that's maybe the one group I'm looking forward to maybe the most in round
There's
of
no
32.
really crazy groups that
No.
kind of stand out as like, what the hell's going on here?
Group H is actually fucking insane if you're familiar with the European scene. Like this is a
nice.
retardedly good group. Happy
Sick,
is
good little dig at JB there. JB.
like Happy
If
is
you
like
disagree with me, you're an idiot. But if you look at Group H,
a lot of people are saying that Happy is the best Terran in Europe right now. Todd, he's well. Come on, Todd, you're a full-time caster now, but I would love to see him do well. Sort of is a guy that impresses the shit out of me every time I watch him play, and Titan is just like the man. So I think
I'm gonna be
I
honest
think
with you.
that's a really up in the air group.
What MrBitter did, I wish we were having beers so I could make fun of you more harshly because I don't want to too much publicly. But I'm looking at all the groups. Yeah, that group's pretty okay. But you and fucking Kevin would always be like, yeah, you know the European
Yeah,
scene.
that is
You're
kind
like,
of a
it's
that's a bitter damn
one
that's a bitter damn thing.
This is a great group, man.
about them.
Ben,
It's a
let's
bitter
be
damn
honest,
trope. That's
you
what we like
really
to call
were
that.
StarCraft hipsters for a long time. It's like, I saw this obscure player in some
Fuck
Hive
you
LAN
guys.
center. There
When
was like
two
7
guys-
people in the
two players
crowd.
got
You've probably never heard of
super
them.
in the top 8, I'm gonna be like, I told you so.
Of course you will. Of
Hey,
course
let's
you
do
will.
another bet. When none of these guys make it to the top 8, except for me. 2, right? So should we do that bet?
Well, you said none, so I think we meet in the middle and we say 1.
Happy could make it. Like Sort of and Titan are great players, man, but
Todd's watching the show, by the way, so just apologize ahead of time.
I
Nice.
called him because I knew he was missing.
fuck you, Ben.
Todd gets mad and he goes and he eats like fucking.
Look, Todd will be all right. He's got his blogs to support him. We can all go read it, and it'll be good. It'll be good. Are you guys making this bet? Is this going to happen now? Or?
Yeah, let's do it. What's it gonna be, Jeff?
Do you want to make
One-
it 2 to
one
the top?
makes it
No,
to the top
2 to 1
eight.
odds?
You're giving me 2-1 on 2 in the top 8. I think you got to give me at least 4-1.
All right. No, that's too much. All right, 4-1 on 25.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, we can do that.
All right.
Jesus.
But I
State of
did
the game
like-
just become
wish-
gambling grounds for StarCraft.
Pretty much.
I wish Kevin was here though, because you took that really well, but Kevin right now would still be arguing with me about that.
Oh, God.
Appy's a really good player.
How hard is it to do the Dutch accent, by the way? It's fucking impossible.
I don't do it. I just make like a incoherent, garbling sound, and then I like
How they make it.
sound.
Jesus Christ. All right. That's it for WCS. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got DreamHack Summer to recap, MLG Anaheim to preview. A lot of tournaments, actually. Red Bull to preview this weekend, and Home Story Cup, which I think is still live at this very moment in time. And then, of
Oh
course...
no, they're
Inbound changes.
rebroadcasting right now. It just ended.
Oh, okay. So it just ended. So regardless, we will cover all that when we come back here on State of the Game. We'll see you guys then.